Today on the Steve Wilkos Show.
I always remembered being afraid of someone coming into my room. I never forgot that.
You say that you've been molested by your father throughout your childhood. How old were you when he was molesting you?
Younger than 9. He put his in my mouth. He would take me in the shower, so I would have to shower with him, and he would masturbate in front of me in the showers.
Well, I might have taken her in the shower.
I have nightmares of you coming in my room and taking my covers, and I cry and I scream. He said, just because someone decides to feel you up one day doesn't mean you can spread around he's a child molester.
You took a lie detector test before the show?
Sure.
David, you were asked, did you ever sexually touch Melissa's?
I don't know. I'm still pondering that question.
You have no idea the hell you put me through.
And then what normal man talks about, yeah, I thought about having sex with a 9-year-old, 10-year-old? Welcome to the show. My first guest is Melissa. Melissa, you say that you've been molested by your father throughout your childhood.
Yes.
Why are you here?
I'm here because I have been told that he currently has contact with children today, and he has never admitted to anything that he's done. And when I have tried to talk to him about things that have happened in our family, he says that he's willing to talk, but that I need to know that he has no regrets and he's done nothing wrong. And I wanted to stop. I've reported to police and I've reported to other places, but for some reason, through the loopholes in the law, he gets away.
You reported to the police that he molested you?
Yes.
And
CPS, and I made a...
How old were you when he was molesting you?
Younger than 9. And
Let me ask you this. When you were a little girl, did you know it was going on when it was happening?
when I was little, I would go to bed at night and I would get under my covers and I would pull them over my head.
And when did you recall that you were molested?
I started having flashbacks when I was in high school, and nightmares, and my mother had asked me if he had done anything to me, and I was afraid to answer, and so I said no, he hasn't. And so I started thinking about the nightmares that I'd been having about being raped and his face coming for me. And
you saw your father's face?
Yeah. And I started thinking about how I would go to school in the 4th and 3rd grade burning so bad that it hurt to sit down. And how I thought that I was just dirty and that maybe I was so dirty that it stung. And so I would go into the bathroom and try and wipe myself clean to make it stop hurting. And he would take me in the shower, so I would have to shower with him, and he would masturbate in front of me in the showers and say, "Don't look," and he would laugh.
How old were you at this time?
I was at least like 6, 5 or 6.
And you have flashbacks of this?
Yes.
I just want to be clear on this, though.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, you didn't even remember this, right? You said when you became a teenager, your mom asked you, and then it kind of triggered, and you started having flashbacks of what happened?
It triggered more things. I always remembered being afraid of someone coming into my room. I never forgot that.
And did you know specifically that it was your father?
Not at that time.
And your parents are divorced, right?
Yes. One thing about that is that while they were married...
And did you end up living with your mom?
Yes. While they were married, I wet the bed almost every night. And sometimes my mother would get tired of changing the sheets. And so...
Until, how old were you when you were doing this, when you were still wetting your bed?
I wet the bed till the day my dad left.
You took a lie detector test before the show.
Yes.
And we'll get to those results. And have you ever confronted your father?
I tried when I was 19. He had been calling me on the phone and asking me if I was wearing clean underwear, and he was like kissing and telling me I was his best girlfriend. And he wanted me to come home for Christmas, and had I done that, I would have been sleeping 2 feet away from him, and I was scared, and I didn't want to.
When your father's saying this to you, what did you say to him?
I'd been telling him for a long time, I'm not your girlfriend. Don't talk to me like that. He had been talking about my body and saying that I needed more on my upper half.
And were you seeing your father on a regular basis throughout till you were 19?
No.
So long periods went by, you didn't see him?
Yes, and when I was 15, I called him because he had sent me $50. I was living with a friend. I called him to say thank you, and he said, who have you been talking to down here? Because I was living in another state after I was 9. And I said, no one. Why? He says, nothing. I'm like, well, why? He said, well, because someone at church came up to my face and called me a child molester. And I said, well, I haven't said anything, Dad. And I'm thinking, what haven't I said anything about? Because I was 15 and I was still trying to think that my dad was a decent dad. I wanted to have my dad. I wanted to believe that my dad was my dad.
Did he ever?
And so he said after that, he said, just because someone decides to feel you up one day doesn't mean you can spread around he's a child molester. And I said, I didn't say anything. He says, well, you better not.
So she did bring up the fact that you might have molested her.
One time I told her, there's no way, you're not my type.
Isn't that a real creepy thing to say to your daughter? And then what normal man talks about, yeah, I thought about having sex with a 9-year-old, 10-year-old.